that you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta get active. I've seen some things that you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta get active. I've seen some things that cannot be erased. Confront my demons face to face, I'm in a space of elevation. The elevator cannot take me down, won't take me out of pace in my own race. I might just well go crazy. See, it's been raining in the purple hue when kingdoms fall. This prince will do. My grit is new, this ink is fresh and dripping through the pages. Burn sensation, grip these raging views of distant nations. Why be patient? But you could just mold a new civilization. I'm alive, nations wanna stop a fella, but I've been rocking hella stages. Slaying them per usual. Just use the tools of ancient movements, move the fools that are just way too complacent. This grooves adjacent, never parallel. I pair with held in heavenly bodies. My reverence is godly, but I'm no patron saint. These patrons can't even afford these pieces. Peace I cannot paint with all this hate around me. Surrounding with sounds and stereo. Oh, there he go. Speaking that new and mono, but you too, like Bono, can shred the hate if you were more aware of the shit that scares you. Stare it in the eye and tell it, yo, I dare you to climb the stairs to a higher place. Not unlike heaven, I preach to reverends in the pastor. If your pasture is not green, my fertilizer will get you there so much faster. Relax, relax, hold up, please take your time. Relax, relax, hold up, please take your time. Relax, relax, hold up, please take your time. Relax, relax, breathe and rewind. Relax, relax, hold up, please take your time. Relax, relax, hold up, please take your time. Relax, relax, please take your time. But love within and breathe and rewind. I've seen some things that you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta get active. I've seen some things that you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta get active. When all the smoke. When all the smoke. It's happening. When all the smoke.
Keep it. Disney Channel is a bunch of lies checked out like cartoons. It feeds our youthful mind these fantasies of flying carpets and frog princes. Having children sit up hours past their bedtime begging them Mr. Potato Head to come alive like in the movies. Because of you, Halloween was always my favorite holiday. Because I could have pumpkin after pumpkin without all of the questioning, and I know you're really curious, so I'll tell you. I used to sit up in my bed staring at that pumpkin then out of the window, that pumpkin then out of the window, hoping and praying that maybe this orange boulder would turn into my white carriage and that alley right into my stallion. To let me have my chance at the glass slippers, but my clock clicked 12 about 15 years back, and I think it's broken because it's always been like that. Mr. Disney, how can you continue to let your people corrupt the minds of our children with these obscure ideas of talking dragons and magic potions? Mr. Disney, you always told me, a dream is a wish your heart makes, and this never seems to make it to my reality unless they are nightmares. Mr. Disney, you subliminally tell children that everything has a happy ending. But where was your philosophy when the bad guy got away with murder yesterday? When the villain got the girl? Mr. Disney, call me naive, but I spent my whole childhood waiting for Prince Charming. But what you seem to leave out of your fairy tales is that men are stubborn. So he was on his way and got lost. Too thick-headed to ask for directions, I was left lost in my train of thought of how a man with so much power could unknowingly erase reality from our minds. You, Mr. Disney, got us thinking life is like a 1 hour, 45-minute block in which you're hurt, you cry, you're kissed, you fall in love, and that's the end of it. That sounds pretty sweet to me, but that's not reality. Mr. Disney, I hate to pull the race card, but it seems you have this reality confused with what your life must have been like. You see, white don't show up on white, so you paint pictures of pink children throwing tantrums and then getting their way. But in real life, our little chocolate caramel-skinned kids follow a lead throwing tantrums only to get the backs of hands. And I must admit, you are quite clever. You show kids it's okay not to be yourself, even have multiple personalities, when things like you get the best of both worlds. And I hold a toast to say kudos to you because, Mr. Disney, you are the biggest scandal since Nixon. And how you've kept it a secret this long makes you the biggest boss I've seen this far. You take children through bad, very bad humor. Too bad I stopped watching your many different channels. No, I'll take that back. Thank God I stopped watching your many different channels. I can walk away with the last bit of reality I have left in me. But don't you worry, Mr. Disney, I won't tell a soul about the lies you've been telling in many different channels.
I want my unborn son to be like my daddy. Lie, because real eyes. This morning, I bumped my head on reality and tumbled over a little piece of hope before I was even old enough to believe in fairy tales. And last night, the world collapsed at my feet at the idea that he was too busy digesting what he would keep saying was his last drink. So this is a letter dedicated to Daddy. Live by the trigger, because no father figure means no one to love me. Smoke inhalation over compelled lungs because you hurt me. Drunken minds over compelling promises that you made me. And sometimes I wish you'd come back. I wonder how you go to sleep every night, knowing that every time you put another drink to your mouth, you told me not to call you daddy anymore. Well, fine. I won't call you daddy anymore. How do you feel about yourself? Having the memory that at your daughter's first talent show, you showed up holding a $50 bottle of vodka instead of a $1 bottle of water. Did you forget you're a diabetic? How many hits did it take for you to be sober? How many shots did it take for you to realize I'm still the same little girl you used to put on your shoulders, but I'm older now. And I realized you're not my daddy anymore. She doesn't realize what she wants.
Memories flash and time begins to pass. I wonder if you dream of me. The night you slammed your things down and yelled at the top of your lungs and I never saw your face again, I wonder, how often do you think of me? I'm still that same little girl you used to play patty cake with on the kitchen counter, but I'm older now. The same little girl who used to praise dance with you in church. So when do you migrate? Because I only seem to see you when it's hot outside.
She doesn't realize what she has. Growing up, all I wanted was for my daddy to love me like he loves his blonde.
But I guess I wasn't important enough to capture his attention. And when I did get it, I made sure I caught it on camera because it was only once in a blue moon where I saw him
sober. So daddy, where you at? Ooh, where you at? How do you feel about yourself? Knowing that when your daughter turned 7, instead of giving her a memorable birthday party, you decided to give her a memorable beating that will last a lifetime. That was the first time you put your hands on me.
You were drunk. And how do you live on with your life? Knowing that when your daughter turned 10, you decided to pick up a blunt instead of picking up the phone to tell your youngest daughter happy birthday. That was the first time I saw you sell drugs. You were addicted. You gotta break this bad habit. So once again, another statistic added to the 65% of African-American children who watch their father throw his life away.
And I'm just another Latina, along with the other 60
We can't make it like we stand for something without still getting nothing.
And I'm not speaking to Malcolm X's speech when I say we teach ballot or the bullet. Finger inching toward the trigger, threatening to pull it. And if we killed our own people, for you other countries, it'll be a massacre. We laugh as we make your eyes well up and your thoughts smear unclear vision. And we never fail to strike up a new mission without accomplishing the one previously set. How irresponsible can you get? But please stay tuned for your morning daily announcements. I pledge allegiance to the flag, and to the poorly funded public school to which my feet drag, and to the wrecked economy that struggles to stand one nation under an unappreciated God, indivisible, in a crooked system for all, especially those with a little extra melanin in their skin. It's a continuous battle full of stubborn people who rather pick sides and set aside their problems so nobody wins. But oh, I can't forget, red, blue, and white. Oh, your marvelous stars and stripes, enough inequality to fuel hunger strikes. The innocent inside your jail bars and your children playing outside and finding crack pipes, and misled women who suffer from vanity and men who just want the booty America. Regardless of your shortcomings, you are the ideal country. And you usually answer when called to duty, so America, I salute your hideous, money crazy, over-processed beauty.
I watched a little boy give birth to a burning bush in Sunday school. He wanted to know about God from the baptism of my mouth, but the gospel thoughts of my words could not breach the contract between me and the God the preacher swore by Lazarus I knew. I would have given the martyr of my halo just to tell him about the God I forgot to believe in yesterday. Because the God he seeks from me today, the lexicon of a Bible can't even fingerprint or bridge the gaps between the resurrection and the reformation of Christ. His religious fervor has become a glamour shot. And I often wonder if this Bible knows his real name. That boy told me in a voice that I never heard, so finished with God, with a tongue like a guillotine to faith, ready to commit suicide over the bow of his head. He said, "This is my last dollar. My mother has cancer and God's going to heal her with it." His voice choke chains me in the opposite direction of God and makes me think about the world I found him in, the world the Baptist hands tailored my soul to. And I want to tell him about the cost of the Holy Ghost in America, where the only in gods we trust worth trusting are painted green, which is the currency that slaughterhouses this American dream. I want to tell him how in the Middle East, there are toy soldiers and turban militia fighting over the holy water of oil, and combat boots, grenades, and gun-brandished prayer beds. How this world has become a societal pillar of warfare. Well, God is an omnipresent plaything. I want to tell him how he's a deity blow-up doll and a little girl's Barbie playing dress up in the closets of false prophets. And economists, I want to tell him what this world make God into. How once upon a time there was a God who loved everyone because we were all his first loves in flesh and blood. I want to tell him how some people have purgatories for hearts, and how some people think that there is a such thing as a God who doesn't love clean. I want to tell them about Buddha and rosaries and how we are all divided under the wrong blessings. I want to tell them about civil unions and how there is a God that doesn't believe in that love, but I don't believe in that one. I want to tell them about crooked priests and a little boy's raped atheists of faith. I want to tell them about non-believers and the reasons they believe. I want to tell them about hypocrites. I'm not a hypocrite. I believe in God, just not the one you exercise from a Bible. Your God who was baptized and backwashed in a generation of morale, as advertised he was in alleyway abortion back in the 70s, in a pro-life C-section, improperly cut short by the commercial interval of a baby broker. And he was the clicking tongue of a jamming gun that swore by its screaming religion that it was a God man to save someone. I want to know about him. Like God knows of safety, you can find one at the end of every gun. Doesn't mean you're safe though. I want to know about the God who loves fags. I want to know about the God who loves fags and sings Christmas carols and Hanukkah and can't be anything but all loving. I don't want to raise your political God, not the one you painted over this dollar bill. I don't want your root of all evil or your make this world go round religion. I want the God who knows the square root of a heart and forgives like the rainbow forgives the flood. So when that boy sacrifices his last dollar to the collection plate, like a ram caught in the greedy tide of a metal bush, I'll hold my tongue and pray with him. Because I know that we are both here in this church today because we hurt like grievances in prayer form. And New Year's without revelations, our prayer hands like the spine of an unpublished Bible. I'll believe in the God he believes will heal her, his mother, the world. I'll let the baptism of my mouth leave a hallelujah in that collection plate for the God I saw in him that Sunday as a way of reclaiming the gospel thoughts of us. That burning bush told me to follow him and free the Israelites of us all.
Our imagination is dying. Though once upon a time,
or maybe twice,
lived an unearthly paradise hidden behind restless eyes where poetry flowed.
Straight into the mainstream, cut off at 140 characters.
I scribble pink, orange, and honesty, speak red, yellow, and sympathy, and dream in neons not seen by the naked eye.
Under the microscopes, the ants go marching in the same unique attire that only the rich retire in, following so far behind they are blind to who is leading. Who has a time when, glued to a TV screen, every advertisement seems like a most wanted poster for murder of our ability to think for ourselves?
Last week, I told all of my friends I quit the piano because I didn't have enough free time, when really, the Keys committed suicide, one after the other, after I told them all of your family have been replaced by iPods,
iPhones, iPads. I'm overwhelmed. I'm sorry. iPods, iPhones, iPads, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not buying you because the apps may be free, but it's costing you your peace of mind. But hey, that's okay because the more gigabytes you have, the more memory space you get for, what matters.
It's only matter, but the simple-minded youth download denial, one click at a time,
like punches.
The deep thinkers take their beatings. Normally I can't walk 3 feet without falling into a dream. But lately, the rabbit holes have morphed into shallow graves where they will bury my ideas alive. Bury me with my notebook.
I'd rather stand and die for my culture than live on my knees for this modern society. I'm sorry, my legs just don't bend that way.
You can put me in a straitjacket
and poison my honey, but your money can't buy my 2 cents. And all I want is change, but it's not as easy as changing your profile picture. Mirror, mirror, Facebook page. Whose photo's real? Whose photo's fake? Let's rewind back to simpler times. I'm sticking with my 80s playlist. Every rose has its thorns because that's what you are to me. A thorn to my side, telling me what's beautiful.
Wrap it around your thick heads because I'm starting to believe it was the apple that bit into the human being. If it's true, you are the universe experiencing itself. Stardust swept and left for dead. So before then, I'd like to experience myself to the fullest extent.
I'm a daydreaming pro, trying to teach my brain cell disciples that my cries can't be heard over the 1,000 lost prophets.
So please remember to continue to prophesize with your heart and then your pen, because the most beautiful things are coming from your own head. Though the future is demanding,
us poets are still standing.
Honey, I'm home.
Shut up, just shut up. I'm done playing your maid and I'm done cleaning up your mess.
My mess?
You right. This morning you peed all over the toilet seat. What you thought I wasn't gonna see? Yeah. You tried because you did it a couple of times last week.
Last week? I wasn't even here.
Yes, you were.
Who you had up in here?
My husband.
And you busted, because I don't even drink beer.
I know that.
Where? With who? You've been where? You know what? I'm done with you. Don't you dare act surprised. Matter of fact, you can get your clothes.
Can I get
No, you can't get a ride.
See, there you go. asking all them questions, making statements, and assuming you're wrong. You know he just left. I guess he didn't even drink the rest. Matter of fact, just throw away the can, you make yourself look crazy.
Crazy! I'll show you crazy! Get on my face! Ooh, I can't stand you! You know what? I hate the way you cook, like you don't know how to use salt. Or the way you drag your feet, like you don't know how to walk.
Wait, let's not get on capabilities. Like the way you say your sentences very slow, like you don't know how to talk.
I got a speech impediment.
I don't want to hear it.
I got a speech impediment.
Nope.
I got a speech impediment.
No, what you gotta do is brush your teeth. You see,
it wasn't always like this in the beginning. I would sneak in by roses. We would creep off to the park, anonymously find ways to be together, but only in the dark.
You see, his love just isn't enough for me to keep me there, to keep me faithful. Even being the mother of his one and only son couldn't keep me there. I cry for my soul, I cry for my son. When I hold him, I see he has his father's eyes. My husband loves me deeper than the ocean's core, mantle, ocean, and crust, but it isn't enough for me. Marriage, I rejected. Marriage, I left it, so it's infidelity.
I only wanted the best, although our actions does not betray. But I never thought that us two would come upon this day. You see, she can be hotter than the earth's core. But if our love does not soar, we are falling together. We are sinking together. We determine the weather. I'm crying and it's looking like rain outside.
I'm crying, I can feel the pain inside.
We're crying, it's looking like rain outside.
I guess my husband.
Your husband, my wife.
And your wife
wouldn't agree upon this life.
I guess all I'm trying to say is
enough is enough. But I ain't clean no pee off no toilet seat.
Title of our piece is called "This Does Not Make You Hip Hop." This does not make you hip hop, and this does not make you hip hop. Stop that gimmick you got on top of them already whack bars. And bars is what it sounds like. Your mind is like behind, caged up and yet to be released. That management you wanted got you on a tight leash, and that advance you got dried up last week. Take off your snap back and snap back into reality. People don't want to hear about what you got, and you're not hot like the sun. I got 99 problems, and you being rich is just not one. This does not make you hip hop.
Okay, you can dance.
That's cool.
Even with no hands.
That's cool.
When you're sagging low, it's the ocean floor with your pants and your IQ score got stuck in the quicksand.
Come on, man.
It's getting long by the minute. Maybe I shouldn't have got started because just wasting my time on you makes me feel bad for speaking on the mentally retarded.
You're a super O. You're a super O.
So what would you do if I sent the boys in blue to you at your little Grove Street party?
Woo woo.
Did you think just because you got dreads and you make music, you the next Bob Marley?
You don't have enough balls to shoot the sheriff.
In the islands of Waikiki. You strut around thinking you're the image of perfection, but your lyrics make me believe you have some type of infection.
Ew.
You're a little girl who daddy didn't show you enough affection. No, you're just not the whore of expensive price. Well, and say your body without thinking twice. A prostitute covered in Gucci, bragging about Menage and Tucci. You think sex equals success, so you add implants to your oversized breast. Remove ribs so you can brag how you smaller than the rest. Bragging how you the baddest. How the ladies search you got your butt looking the fattest.
Booty.
Well, and so short for a higher status. I see you, but I hear anything you say.
So
Maybe your lace one's too tight to your brain.
So
let me explain.
Remember, back on the streets on the Boulevard of Linden, New York block parties, DJs are spinning, and you think because you got yourself a good hook, you're Charlie Sheen, winning. But if they were hip-hop guys, you would be sinning.
I remember when the reason for spitting was to end up in a better direction, be able to catch a glimpse of reality through someone else's perception. To now where the meaning of affection is interpreted through somebody telling me use the right contraception.
I remember when there was more love than violence in lyrics. Hear it, then bob your head without thought, without worry of being brainwashed by subliminal messages. The rumor, cancerous tumor, toxicity of the Illuminati. Hip-hop stopped when... Hip-hop stopped when wealth took over and we were force-fed lies and the glamour of celebrity lives. Real is no longer recognized. So let the present be the present and the past be the past. But if future is the future, then this verse here is my last.
I don't even know why you guys even bother at this
Bass
point.
God can't save you now.
My black is like virginity on a Saturday night. Gone. And since black men claim to be raped by the system, I find my purity in white. That's a lie. The truth is that I've never tried to label myself as white. Everyone else has, from friends to enemies and families to the disowned members at the age of 12, when my sister first heard me speak.
She told me I needed to learn how to talk like a black man because apparently proper is the new slang and slang is the new black, but she never really told me what black really was, so I assumed it was synonymous with ghetto. That it means using words like Gucci and calling everything negative gay, or having babies jump rope with the umbilical cords, then tripping over the thought of having something to look up to other than a deadbeat until that stereotype becomes their father figures. My father was like the stereotype that said I can't be black because of the way I walk, because apparently I walk on sunshine as of rainbows, our roads to heaven. Well, maybe my black is a rainbow. Maybe I've left one too many footprints, and maybe I don't plan on betraying Jesus with a pot of gold coins lying on the other side. I can't force myself to live in a black and white world. If I could, my black will be a Milano. My Milano will be a North Star, as yellow as the sun, so that on the sun days when the sun tells me my skin is getting darker, I can tell him, my God, you're just colorblind. I wonder if Jesus is actually colorblind, if Black Jesus is real, if Willie Lynch was his Judas, and if instead of dying on a cross, he was crucified by a noose. I wonder if he was just trying to wade in those waters. He turned into wine, and the people drinking tasted the freedom he was trying to reach. One thing I know is that Jesus doesn't know how to color my jeans inside the lines. Or else the way I don't sag these jeans wouldn't have been the cause of my brother telling me I'm not a real man, or that I'm not a real nigga. For the record, I never wanted to be a nigga. For the stereotype, I would never want my jeans to be lower than my test scores, which would never be lower than the dropout rate. Speaking of the dropout rate, did you know that each year almost 1.5 million students are whipped into the shape of a dropout? While the statistics hang around the necks of over 600,000 African Americans in the form of a gold chain noose, lynching them until believing chains and whips should excite them, igniting that Jesus inside them, treating my body like the Golgotha where they crucified their senses, like a way of repenting for their ignorance. How many times they expect the God in me to forgive when no one can forget how I choose Dragon Ball over basketball, or how I put the skinny in skinny jeans. That's just my black. But they give me veins of blue. The Harlem Renaissance jazz era that's like a Great Depression. Every time my stock market happiness is crashed, every time someone claims I gotta walk a certain way, or talk a certain way, or listen to a certain kind of music. Well, I listen to rock and pop, yet I still manage to have the body like a jukebox, the inspiration like a quarter, my voice like an amp, the rib cage like the strings of a guitar that no one will play in the soul, like the saxophone whose reed has been placed in the mouth of God as he transposed sheet music into Bible verses, made every Christian dance when they heard that Holy Ghost in his breath, my black. That is my pride, as well as my struggle, my gift, as well as the box it comes in, my race that is slowly racing towards its own finish line, and lastly, my skin tone that is not my deformity.
Satan was the ultimate slave master. Lucifer made lyrics subject to slander, as if melodies and music had been thrown into a blender, mixing so eloquently that
they entice listeners to ingest subliminal acoustics into their brainwaves, causing their tongues to contort to catchphrases like,
look at me now, oh, I'm getting paper.
But look at you then, because the paper you're rapping about chasing isn't even paper at all. You rappers are becoming modern day slaves to the industry that played you into thinking you're getting paid in trees, while honestly, you're collecting currency consisting of cotton stitches.
And reverting to cotton pick and letting white men own us. We fill dollar bills, open luxurious doors to pearly gate shielding bills galore. But those glorious guardian angels on what you rely upon so greatly are dead presidents that once enslaved your ancestors. I mean, let's face it.
Benjamin Franklin was a slave owner, and so was President Lincoln. Just because he signed the bill that abolished slavery, that doesn't mean that you should chain your brains, abolish your morals, and chase your beloved bills. Just live your life. Hey, you steady chasing that paper.
Those buku bucks that got you stuck on pack rat mentalities. Stacking those greenbacks got you backpack rappers backtracking back to the days when the North Star was all that mattered.
It twinkled and blingified the skies just as jewels blingify your neck. Every aerial suicide door you see take flight doesn't make you as fly a star as that one.
Defending your selfish wants with sing-along songs. I thought I told you I'm a star. You see the ice, you see the cars.
But you're living like stars never fall. Shooting stars are no longer like universal marvels. Then now a term to describe T.I.'s weapon charge.
Shooting at people while every other star in the universe is shooting daggers of slender, hoping that the record sales of the competition will also take a dive.
Can't see y'all boys, the money in the way.
And on the basis of who's currently making the most currency,
Circles are forming mini galaxies of the universal record labels.
Orbiting Nicki Minaj's sons are expanding YMC and B's, and you paper makers are becoming paper chasers.
So beyond this, you can't see that everyone who partakes in the industry is part of the slave trade. The A&Rs recruited you from your roots.
From starting in your basements.
And the promoters sell your products like auctioners as well as the management. And you've been stripped so far from your roots that even your consumers have rooted pack rat mentalities into themselves.
They've got stacks of your albums.
Stacks of your posters and double XL magazines. We call these groupies the number one fans. Brainwash to spread cash like fans, but these bills don't generate enough breeze to cool down the Dante Infernos of this industry.
And once you get some cash, you'll reach a higher status. Keep them dollars coming.
And you'll never experience the lifestyle of a freed man.
Never experience such because you'll never replenish your morals.
And you'll never replenish them because you'll never be an influential, advocating, paper-changing poet, saturating white loose leaf with black ink.
You'll never be us.
You're too busy chasing that paper.
I once believed in once upon a times, fairy tales and make-believes, far-off lands ruled by frosted-up dreams, pages upon pages of endless possibilities.
Of climbing mountains and kissing clouds, of dragon rides through midnight air, jeweled crowns and shining armor, breathing in the sweet smell of imagination.
Because I once believed in storybook endings, where the prince comes riding in on the white horse, the beautiful ballroom gowns, the glass slippers, and the
Happy birthday. That was the first time I saw you sell jugs. You were addicted.
Found by maggots and flies, land that blood was shed over in order to declare our own, because we had to conquer more than what was loaned, and more was never and will never be enough. We chewed through the flesh of our own kind like the meat wasn't even tough. Yes, our greed is comparable to cannibalism. We label creativity done on dilapidated buildings as vandalism, and we can become known as the land of overcapacitated prisons, one of the few places the minorities can be seen as the majority and the higher authorities carry weapons and then preach against them. Yeah, we're full of it. And I'm not speaking of Malcolm X's speech when I say we teach ballot or the bullet, finger inching toward the trigger, threatening to pull it. And if we killed our own people, for you other countries, it'll be a massacre. We laugh as we make your eyes well up and your thoughts smear unclear vision, and we never fail to strike up a new mission without accomplishing the one previously set. How irresponsible can you get? But please stay tuned for your morning daily announcements. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the poorly funded public school to which my feet drag, and to the wrecked economy that struggles to stand one nation under an unappreciated God, indivisible, in a crooked system for all, especially those with a little extra melanin in their skin. It's a continuous battle full of stubborn people who rather pick sides and set aside their problems so nobody wins. But oh, I can't forget, red, blue, and white. Oh, your marvelous stars and stripes, enough inequality to fuel hunger strikes. The innocent inside your jail bars and your children playing outside and finding crack pipes, and misled women who suffer from vanity and men who just want the booty America. Regardless of your shortcomings, you are the ideal country. And you usually answer when called to duty. So America, I salute your hideous, money crazy, over-processed beauty.
I watched a little boy give birth to a burning bush in Sunday school. He wanted to know about God from the baptism of my mouth, but the gospel thoughts of my words could not breach the contract between me and the God the preacher swore by Lazarus I knew. I would have given the martyr of my halo just to tell him about the God I forgot to believe in yesterday. Because the God he seeks from me today, the lexicon of a Bible can't even fingerprint or bridge the gaps between the resurrection and the reformation of Christ. His religious fervor has become a glamour shot, and I often wonder if this Bible knows his real name. That boy told me in a voice that I never heard, so finished with God, with a tongue like a guillotine to fate, ready to commit suicide over the bow of his head. He said, "This is my last dollar. My mother has cancer and God's going to heal her with it." His voice choke chains me in the opposite direction of God and makes me think about the world I found him in, the world the Baptist hands tailored my soul to. And I want to tell him about the cost of the Holy Ghost in America, where the only in gods we trust worth trusting are painted green, which is the currency that slaughterhouses this American dream. I want to tell him how in the Middle East there are toy soldiers and turban militia fighting over the holy water of oil, and combat boots, grenades, and gun brandished prayer beds. How this world has become a societal pillar of warfare. Well, God is an omnipresent plaything. I want to tell him how he's a deity blow-up doll and a little girl's Barbie playing dress up in the closets of false prophets and economists. I want to tell him what this world make God sent to. How once upon a time there was a God who loved everyone because we were all his first loves in flesh and blood. I want to tell him how some people have purgatories for hearts, and how some people think that there is a such thing as a God who doesn't love clean. I want to tell them about Buddha and rosaries and how we are all divided under the wrong blessings. I want to tell them about civil unions and how there is a God that doesn't believe in that love, but I don't believe in that one. I want to tell them about crooked priests and a little boy's raped atheist of faith. I want to tell them about non-believers and the reasons they believe. I want to tell them about hypocrites. I'm not a hypocrite. I believe in God, just not the one you exercise from a Bible. Your God who was baptized and backwashed in a generation of morale, as advertised he was in alleyway abortion back in the 70s, in a pro-life C-section, improperly cut short by the commercial interval of a baby broker. And he was the clicking tongue of a jamming gun that swore by a screaming religion that it was a God man to save someone. I want to know about him. Like God knows of safety, you can find one at the end of every gun. Doesn't mean you're safe, though. I want to know about the God who loves fags. I want to know about the God who loves fags and sings Christmas carols and Hanukkah and can't be anything but all loving. I don't want to raise your political God, not the one you painted over this dollar bill. I don't want your root of all evil or your make this world go round religion. I want the God who knows the square root of a heart and forgives like the rainbow forgives the flood. So when that boy sacrifices his last dollar to the collection plate, like a ram caught in the greedy tide of a metal bush, I'll hold my tongue and pray with him. Because I know that we are both here in this church today because we hurt like grievances in prayer form. And New Year's without revelations, our prayer hands like the spine of an unpublished Bible. I'll believe in the God he believes will heal her, his mother, the world. I let the baptism of my mouth leave a hallelujah in that collection plate for the God I saw in him that Sunday as a way of reclaiming the gospel thoughts of us. That burning bush told me to follow him and free the Israelites of us all.
Our imagination is dying. Though once upon a time,
Or maybe twice.
lived an unearthly paradise hidden behind restless eyes where poetry flowed.
Straight into the mainstream. Cut off at 140 characters.
I scribble pink, orange, and honesty. Speak red, yellow, and sympathy, and dream in neons not seen by the naked eye.
Under the microscopes, the ants go marching in the same unique attire that only the rich retire in. Following so far behind, they are blind to who is leading. Who at the time when glued to a TV screen, every advertisement seems like a most wanted poster for murder of our ability to think for ourselves.
Last week, I told all of my friends I quit the piano because I didn't have enough free time, when really, the Keys committed suicide, one after the other, after I told them all of your family have been replaced by iPods.
iPhones, iPads, I'm overwhelmed. I'm sorry. iPods, iPhones, iPads, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not buying it because the apps may be free, but it's costing you your peace of mind. But hey, that's okay because the more gigabytes you have, the more memory space you get for, what matters.
It's only matter, but the simple-minded youth download denial one click at a time,
Like punches.
The deep thinkers take their beatings. Normally I can't walk 3 feet without falling into a dream. But lately, the rabbit holes have morphed into shallow graves where they will bury my ideas alive. Bury me with my notebook.
I'd rather stand and die for my culture than live on my knees for this modern society. I'm sorry, my legs just don't bend that way.
You can put me in a straitjacket
and poison my honey, but your money can't buy my 2 cents. And All I want is change, but it's not as easy as changing your profile picture. Mirror, mirror, Facebook page. Whose photo's real? Whose photo's fake? Let's rewind back to simpler times. I'm sticking with my 80s playlist. Every rose has its thorns because that's what you are to me. A thorn to my side, telling me what's beautiful.
Wrap it around your thick heads because I'm starting to believe it was the apple that bit into the human being. If it's true, you are the universe experiencing itself. Stardust swept and left for dead. So before then, I'd like to experience myself to the fullest extent.
I'm a daydreaming pro, trying to teach my brain cell disciples, yet my cries can't be heard over the 1,000 lost prophets.
So please remember to continue to prophesize with your heart and then your pen, because the most beautiful things are coming from your own head. Though the future is demanding,
Us poets are still standing.
Place why they lay me in the castaway and my ass is born out of space and it's just me and my liquor store blues. So you choose your life or the untold news. I am Apollo, son of Zeus, god of music, poetry, plague, and sunlight. But for the night, I'll be your DJ, keeping the new Heaven's favorite song an eternal replay. I scratch and mix with my fingertips on the toppy tips of your halos. And there's no need for pesos, because I'll do this ish right here for free. We finna party like it's 120 BC. Somebody tell my pop Zeus to throw on another beat, preferably be a G, because when I die, forget it, I want to go to heaven, because I've been hearing beats down to earth since I was 7. Scratch. Now hit replay. I realize that these poems sound a little cliche, but I swear to you, beatnik Moto's hip-hop is just not that easy. Now, does anybody remember Easy? He was rolling down the street in his 6'4". Government tried to blame his death on some whore, but they injected that needle. So Easy gets a front row seat to see me move with these needles. Now, according to Greek mythology, I need you to square boxes with circles in the middle, kicking dope raps and smooth riddles. I am Apollo. Like Twitter, you should all follow. Here's some food for thought. Open wide, now swallow. I dolo. Challenge any team or solo. Put up your best soliloquies. Not even your best drill skills can penetrate through these big words. Scratching your pain with my fingers. Killing your life with these words. Scratching your pain with these fingers. Killing your whole life with these words. Killing you softly. Then I took the wings up off me because they kept getting in the way of my jam session. Stop stressing. I'll tap into your dopamine. Have you feeling great? Because I'm dope now. Me, whether it's 2 square boxes or a hot 16. Back in the day, people would pay to sit in your seat to hear me speak. So when I'm done, come together like butt cheeks. Hear that? That's feedback, and I need that. And I'm a grown man, so I'm going to die on these 2 feet instead of these kneecaps.
Many people ask me, where do I get my inspirations for my poetic word combinations? And it's funny because I don't think it really helps for me to say that my poems erupt from any and everything. You see, because I write to bring balance when everything around me proposes a challenge. When the boy feels he has to toe the corn 4-5 Smith & Wesson has been close enough to the face of death to smell his breath. See, I write when teachers and mentors try to prevent future addicts, when street corpses stack hard like old cans in the cabinet after bullets orchestrated death on the body with a sequence of 3 sounds. Click, clack, and pow. That's exactly how my pen scribbles out on paper. You see, I intricate my finger motions like a humble composer as my hand and pen abuses the pale paper. Bruising the white flesh in between the sky blue veins that flows from left to right. Each line takes a hit, seduces it out in my brain, and now my brain's got my pen still making craters. Stabbing and poking with precision, spilling navy blue blood from my writing utensil. And like a middle intersection, sometimes I barely still write, but I still take an attempt to try to explain why I write. See, I write when that kid's voice is set aside like a college fee waiver. Or when 4-year-olds cry hard after mommy says, I'll see you later. I write for the single baby mama who hustles hard legally at her 9 to 5 and cherishes the little vacation time she receives when her shift transitions from 5 to 9. See, I spaz out on paper to spare the closest human being the wrath of my emotions. But when everything is fine, my pen dances like a simple silhouette across the pale paper, allowing for new perceptions. Its gestures resembles the soldier's subtle steps that made their way to a landmine. Boom! Whose skies are now clouded by the ash of his comrades, so my pen honors the sacrifice. Making big problems feel as small as headlights as the blue ink washes away their presence. As my pen sketches for new perceptions descriptions,
making gestures for understanding,
and show off the world's many personifications because my poems are a testimony. So I write
to explain why the Bible says the wealth of the wicked shall be stored upon for the righteous. But at the same time, what happens when you have walked in both the paths of the wicked and the righteous? And Lord knows the list goes on.
So I was heavily blessed with the hypothetical gift, so I would gladly bleed my soul dry. If you so insist, I say I would gladly
bleed my soul dry onto the mic until I get everyone else to join in.
Then we can throw the earth spin
into reverse,
catching the many lyrical breezes that string across time's tracks as we move back
to the good times, producing real hip-hop feel tsunamis, just shifting mainstream drawing equated. So it's time for a new era. But if we were trying to sum up what we write for in layman's terms, we would say something like, we write for the freedom of the oppressed, equality, love, and truth. We write about pain, passion, pleasure, and even you. And last but not least, we write for us in the path that we walk on. Because in the words of the late Biggie Smalls, yeah, right, I like the life I live because it went from negative to positive and now it's all good.
I've been very depressed. I'm in yoga school. I'm paying my own bills, and I'm dealing with life, so it's a lot. I'm really sad. Okay? Thank y'all. Okay. So this poem is, an ancient one, and I love it. I do this poem every time I'm trying to recover from depression. It's called Depression All Over My Room. There's depression all over my room. It cut the lights, covered my mirrors, shut my blinds, and boarded up my door. I see depression in my room. It has closed my journals, laughed at my writing, hit me until I scream and yell, there's no tears left, what more do you want? Told me I wasn't good enough and then hugged me and said, don't worry, I'm here for you. I feel depression in my room. It makes sure my clothes stay tidy and never worn. It stretches my meals for a week. It ignores calls and texts from my friends and let me know I already have a family. It makes sunlight and fresh air feel like my enemy. I kicked depression out of my room. I showered, allowed sunlight onto my skin, wrote this poem, ate a meal, and returned some calls. I kicked depression out of my room today.
That's kicking depression out. That's kicking depression out of my room. All right, so the next part of this amazing process, after you hear a poem, we have 5 amazing judges. Let's give it up for our judges. These judges were handpicked because they are like the bee's knees before bees even had knees. This was where it started. These knees started here. You hear me? So our first judge is Miss Tyler Scales. Miss Tyler Scales is a Grammy, Oscar award-winning recording artist. You hear me? She got 2 beautiful boys, and they are on their way to college right now. And they only 6 and 7, 3 and 4. They young, but they on their way. That's Miss Tyler Scales, everybody. Our next judge is Miss Stephanie Laird. You hear me? Stephanie Laird runs a plethora of schools. She is overseeing the schools and making sure that our Black kids are getting educated to the best of their ability. All of her schools are called Miss Laird Getting in Line. You hear me? Miss Laird Getting in Line. So make sure y'all send your kids to her school. And this is why she's one of our judges. Our next judge is Mr. Keontae. No, not me. Right. And y'all know why he a judge, okay? You see? No, Keontae is an amazing recording artist as well. He's been on songs with The Baby, you hear me? Tyler, the Creator, Sir, Kurt Franklin. You hear me? He did a little bit of everything. He be everywhere with it. Let's give it up for him. All right? Our next judge is Mr. Edward. Let's give it up, okay? First of all, Edward obviously got some hoes. No, just kidding. No, just Edward. Edward is he just won a humanitarian award for Milwaukee. Out here doing a whole bunch of philanthropist stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let's give it up for being a philanthropist. You hear me? We out here. And last but not least, we got Jay Tuck. Mr. Jay Tuck, let's give it up for our boy. Y'all, Mr. Jay is actually in line to be the president once Biden is out. order. Okay? So our judges are here because you heard their accolades. This is why they're here. So our judges have already scored our last poet, our sacrificial poet. One more time, let's give it up for her. Because we're for the poetry and not really the point. But we definitely here for the point. All right, so judges, you hold your scores up. And from low to high, we got 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, and 5. Let's give that. So from low to high, we have a 6.5. Right. They are obviously depressed. We have a 7.2. And he's a little bit less depressed, but still there. We have the 8.0. We have the 8.7 and the 9. Let's give it up for that one more time. Now, after every round, we have this distinguished table of children and mathematicians. They do the math real quick, and they're going to tell us the score for that last poet. No, you did it good, baby girl. Give it up one more time. You did it good. For that poem, we got a 23.9. Let's put it up. All right, so you guys know how this works, right? Y'all know how this works, right? You know how it works. So we're going to go through our 4 teams. Our first team we have that's going to be performing tonight is the Unruly. Let's give it up for the Unruly. Our second team performing will be We Just Some Regular Niggas. And we just some regular niggas. Our next team performing Undone. Stay tuned. Undone. Stay tuned. And lastly, we got Black Lineal. So in just that order, we are going to have our poets come up, our judges will score, and we'll go through the night just like that. And I hope you guys are ready for your souls to be fed, because y'all bellies already ate. Amen. Amen. So let's give it up for our first poem from our Unruly. Let's clap it up for our
How y'all doing? People at home? Yeah. Keep it classic the first round. Dynasties rise and fall. That's right. Or bloodlines pass away. Monuments turn to ash and inscriptions eventually fade, but we remain. Because immortality is only granted to those who are needed. We are the knowledge seekers. We carry the stories of the gods and hyperboles, wrapped in similes and laced with metaphors, then placed into a rhyme scheme to rival even the story of creation. Let there be light. And it was so. God saw the light was perfect and named it poets, because we are the greatest storytellers of all time. We can make the blind dream and see each color by describing each as a sound. Our words seem brand new, but our thoughts are ancient and laced with kryptonite, so even the greatest of men can't face it, because as mortals, we don't qualify. Their words fade, ours are etched into the skies. Constellations were created for the deaf so they can read our majesties in the night. We speak of the past because we were there. We speak of the present as if it were a gift and we write out the future, because we are the only culture that plans to last that long. We are so blessed that, for instance, when we pray for protection, the angels ask for our assistance. Simons sing our poems as poison. Only lions know our heaven-sent names, but when they speak it, people are too afraid to listen. We are the ones who translated the words Mother Earth spake to Father Sky to keep just enough distance between them. And listen close, and I'll say this next part. No one can say I love you like we do. We let you know the universe was created to serve you, and our touch makes your chest feel like the sun. Though in the end, you don't deserve us. And we are greater weapons than the ones you create. Son, I'll put this ball put in your face. You better be afraid, because I'll bite you out of existence. Or the thought of you anyways. You see, the push and pull of waves has nothing to do with the moon. Us poets are globally placed, and we speak words of gravity, so they don't know which way to move. Heaven is held up by our clouded thoughts. When it rains, you're soaked in our intellect. So let's never forget, wars, they come and go. Atlas changes hands. No one really knows what peace is. Immortality is only granted to those who are needed, and as poets are here to stay.
That was to us poets. And let's see what our judges have to say about that. Judges hold the scores up. We got 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 6, 4, 4, 5. You forcing it, but I love it. All right, so on the score of low to high, we have an 8.9. Y'all can feel those. We got a 9.0. We got a 9.4, a 9.4, and a 10. Let's give it up to that poet one more time. Yo, that was amazing. So again, yeah, it was a 10. It was a 10. All right, so we're going to keep the ball rolling. We're going to keep the ball rolling. And we're going to bring up our next poet from We Just a Regular Nigga. Start clapping now for the poet. Start clapping now for that poet.
One day I want to share a love that is ungodly. And not because I'm a non-believer, because I believe in you. I want to make deities wish they knew this worship. Make gods green with envy. I am willing to be condemned for such blasphemous love. For your love, I will sin against every Bible and book, scripture and hook. Make deals with demons and dance with devils in the pale moonlight, or even on the moon, maybe even salsa on the sun. I want that kind of love. I want to be saved by you. I want to make God want to repent every time we touch, every time we fuck, repent for his sins against us, because we are his blasphemy, where he can no longer worship himself. Let us convert Jesus to Judas, and when we kiss, make Buddha an Asherah, make Satan a saint. I want to taste the I want to taste the sins underneath your skin, while singing sweet hymns, humming gospels, chewing on chants as I suck the nectar from your neck and gorge me in your beauty. Convert me. Make me pray dirty words to your chapel. Caress me with caress your cathedral. Thrust your temple. Worship your womb and resurrect your tomb. I want to sing beautifully for you, and I don't want to be forgiven. And I don't ever want to forget. I will be at the altars of every church every Sunday, the steps of every temple, the meetings of every mosque, every holy day in protest, to let them know that they found the wrong God, to find God in love and fuck with fury. May gods worship them like they worship us, and we'll become religion. And just so you know, I am not too powerful to get on my knees and lick up every last sinful sensation from you. Drink your holy waters, baptize me in your sutras. I will speak tongues in your presence, be rebuked by your essence. And just for a second, we'll be sanctimonious. They'll write books in our stead when we die. Tell stories of how we created universes in 7 days and we rested on the 8th, because after our Big Bang, we will need time to replenish a love that will stretch everywhere, reaching the peaks of Mount Olympus. So when I find you, diminish all notions of godly servitude. Gods were made to serve you, made to serve us. Make demons abstinent, fill angels with lust, raise hell until heaven falls to us. Our love will be nothing but blasphemous.
Let's give it up for that poet. For that last poet, for the unruly, we got a 27.8. Let's give it up for him. And our judges are scoring right now. We just regular niggas. Let's see those scores, judges. Okay, we got 2, 3, 4, and 5. From a low to high, we got an 8.0. We got an 8.5. An 8.9, an 8.9, and a 9. Let's give it up to the poet. Our judges ain't freaky. Our judges not freaky. That's all that means. They don't know nothing about being nasty. They don't know nothing about swimming in the little waters. It's okay though. I was with you. All right, so I'm going to keep the ball rolling still. We're going to move to stay tuned. Let's give it up for them right now. Let's give it up for them right now as they come to the stage. Thank y'all for staying tuned.
I'm just get right to it.
Domino, I want to fall into whoever you are. Prayers first, head second. If I had a hope that this was anything, is that you would be endless, if only for tonight. Foolish enough to keep me afloat like God above physics before I ever fall before solid ground. There is no floor beneath us now. If so, then there is no us. We are levitation. What a world there is without us. The moment love called our names, life be made a waiting room no more. How many fools have we made in the wake of finding each other, made of ourselves, became carpenters of moral fiber, making fools out of time to be in this, made ourselves a cloak of invisibility out of our precious moments. I mean, it's not like we planned to find each other like this. Like so obvious, like similes of flashlights in daytime. We've just never been patient as individuals, just two people who've never been great at counting time together. I fell to my knees for you. More than once, this has meant something monstrous inside me coming out into a suspension of disbelief that I'm always beneath you. Porous palms scaling your limbs for stability. More than once, these knees have kissed the floor bloody for you. Call this position forth as sex or sacrifice or prayer or helplessness all over you, whomever you are. My knees deserve praise now. If not only for tight walking all your bullshit up until this moment, we've been playing in the dark in a limbo of parts, bathing in shadows after showers. We rinse our bodies with fresh water to cleanse off all this sin and start barer than Christ. In these sheets, we are cracked cocoon of becoming, finally able to unhinge our joints and free ourselves. Hang a day's worth of inhibitions out to dry on the clothesline of God's shortcomings. Oh my hands can sift through you like sand. I am fire and we are touching like a looking glass, seeing into the future each time we kiss. Who knew creation was a womb of darkness before our light shined? Been praying in the dark trying to find out. God is like a bird looking through a window, and flesh was the only exit door we could use to find him. Now we have both closed doors trying to be opened by each other. I had to reveal my soul to you to ever return home again, and now all I am is falling into you.
For that last poll, we got a 26.3. Let's give it up for that boy. Our judges right now for and stay tuned. We have our judges got 1, 2, 3. You got them thinking hard. They lost. They lost in the sauce 4. They still lost. They finally here. Let's see what we got from the score going low to high. We got an 8.0. You tripping. We got an 8.5 also tripping. We got an 8.7. I don't know what's going on. We got a 9.1. Thank you. And a 9.5. Let's give it up for that. They not listening. I don't know what's going on. They can't hear the music. Must be too loud. I don't know what's going on. But for our last round, let's give it up for Black Lineo.
How y'all doing, family? Y'all good? How y'all doing, family? Y'all good? Okay, there we go. All right, so this poem is called The Beckoning. Flesh and bone and blood seeping into this soil for greater good, black body be a commodity. A contraband on missing t-shirts, a test tube for the big bucks, such savage, such display of gravel, pain, raw, needs to be contained. Told my ancestors be a contribution to this land, some freedom. Some sacrifice of man, a warpath among brothers, a different kind of dozen, black body. You be a roaming cattle for slaughter. A trauma care form in the heart of politicians, the algorithm of oppression, the eerie hunting in society's ambition, black body. Do you mend and bend and contort
until your cries become unhinged. When did you get so strong? When your womb had birthed nations such sick, such numb. Tell me, haven't you had enough of being too American? That your wounds cause interactions with internet sensations and blackface trends, black body. When they ask you if you are America's favorite commodity, tell them that you are not forgotten, not punctured for complications and despair, that your soul remains holy where God put you there. Such amulet, such care. Black body be a demanding gold, a celebration of its own. How do you live if this is all you've known? A song so deep it creates a dynamic feat. Does this liberation come too close to home? Black body, you are grandmother's cooking. The drawn yellow sun in the corner of baby girl's picture, the tangerine on mama's kitchen, the settled vinyl blues playing when he came in for good. Black body, when America stops asking you to be its favorite commodity, finally, listen.
We've been strong, baby. You see me? Listen. You see that black body? Ooh. Let's give it up for that boy one more time. For that 26.3. And for black women, our judges are giving you those scores, and they looking good. They looking good. They'll be looking better if we have one more. They'll be looking better. Okay. So the score from low to high, we got an 8.8. Yeah, there you go. Okay. We got a 9.5, a 9.7, a 9.9, and a 10. So as we wrap up that first round of poetry, of poets, of scores, of fools, of gays, of all of that, are y'all feeling good? I'm about to go wrap it up. And I'm feeling it. Are y'all good? Y'all good? Let's go. Come on. For that last poem of that first round, we got a 29.1. Let's give it up for our poets. Now, as we move into our second round, our order will be a little bit different. If you went first last round, you'll be going last this round. If you went second last round, you'll be going first, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that just basically means that the rules are still the same. Nothing has changed. You got 3 minutes and 10 seconds for poetry. That 10 seconds is your grace period. If you go over that, you get deduct 0.1 for every second you go over. Any props you are using will be a deduction. Any plagiarism will be a deduction. But we don't have to go over the rules because y'all grown and been following rules for at least since 1997. And y'all know that was a good year for us. All right, so we're going to go into the second round. Let's get some energy going. Let's get some energy going. And we start with me just some regular niggas.
The rapper Future says, no fatties allowed in the club. And suddenly I become a gospel in the mouths of men who don't say grace before their meals. My body, a single serving away from ass shaking, flashing lights, diamonds dancing, and women who are proudly faster than the cars y'all claim you can afford. How dare you try to interrupt our acceleration with your pills? Future says, no fatties allowed in the club, and all the women I love dance anyway. All the women I love take up space, cut in line, and we'll all be damned if you try to stop us. All the women I love take up space. So nigga, move the fuck over. Make way for the hips, the thighs, the bellies, the big God energy cutting through this tight-ass crowd. How dare you think you're entitled to this ounce of dance floor, to the edge of this seat, to this corner, to this wall. Future says, no fatties allowed in the club, and I eat the McDonald's anyway. Future says, no fatties allowed in the club, and I walk around in crop tops anyway. Future says, no fatties allowed in the club, and then the club becomes empty. The club becomes exactly what you'd expect. The club becomes a graveyard. The club becomes an exit sign. The club becomes a place where men who are too afraid of feeling small can be the biggest loser in the room without even having to try.
I'm gonna take my fat ass to the club. Listen, I'm gonna take my big ass to the club with that. You hear me? Talk about some cheese. Let me get on in here. All right, let's give it up for that boy one more time. And we waiting on two more poets, two more judges. Now we're just waiting on one. I'm gonna tell y'all who to jump after this. All right, so on a low to high score, we got an 8.8, right? An 8.9, right? An 8.9, right? A 9, and a 9. Okay. But let's give it up for that boy one more time. I like skinny girls. All right, let's go and give it up for that boy one more time. We got Undone, stay tuned. Let's get on way up here. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And he's gonna do it.
Serial killer. And the way they stare at us, blank, like summer wildflowers blooming before fall, like sudden death, like wrong place, wrong time, and broken families will never let us get the right kind of wrong. Make you feel like a fight before it happens, like a waterfall going over a cliff, unable to prevent plummeting to the bottom and crashing against the rock, a Charlie horse in the system, to dispose with ritual, chemical, and spiritual dissolution, a cocktail of psychosocial, racist genocide, stare like serial killers, expert code switchers. Like, why would you ever let a wildflower grow where it ain't supposed to know how? You only get a resistance vain enough to break concrete or break even glass ceiling, something unearthly. I mean, beam that shit back to its element. Cause Scotty is a hood nigga who's been lowering the property values for years now, and he can't live, well, anyway. Put him to death or in jail or just the fuck out of our sight until we need a freeway or a shopping center. Put him where there is no more concrete for the new roses to grow through, where the waters ain't waiting no more, where he can no longer dream like utopia. Write him off like capitalism is a figment of his imagination, like poverty is a figment of his imaginations. Force feed him a matrix of trauma born to desensitize death to him. Make life a never-ending prescription of blue pills in the matrix. Black eyes have seen darkness like caged birds. Without a voice, left with just wishing to bleach the night sky opulent like a comment of God. Make me wish, make me freer than this moment of make this body no longer bone enough to be a cage here in the ghetto where there is no space or stars or just places and moments to just look up from being smaller than you are. Or feel like a black hole with no grasp on your space or time, like helpless destruction. They stare at us blank like make America great again. Like the earth is the only thing big enough for a revolution because black people will never see eye to eye. Ain't no change in them, no debate in them. They will die like weeds, kill each other anyway. They will grow up choking on trees just to breathe beyond their own bones. They cannot manage beyond this. But we've been managing beyond this for years. Our ancestors could teach you a kaleidoscope pedagogy about displacement and how making that beautiful could be like ancient ruins. Yet they stare at us blank like poverty, like broken is survivable because we survive, and like survivable mean okay because we okay, like resistance ain't making it happen by any means, blood or water, like we make broke look good, like we make broke look good, like making a body to be bodied or be fresh to death to be making a body to be bodied to be fresh to death, making it fresh to death or casket ready because Megan Savage, all my niggas be casket ready. They got no names or faces in the streets, but they ready. Been rolling the stone blunts our daddies left because all we got is elevation. And how many blanks they gonna stare at us when they get desperate to live like us, to make ends meet like us, to make meals meet like us. They're gonna cut down wildflowers in our hood to manicure this perception of America. Control the chaos of encroaching revolution and injustice on their heels, make dark places this place for Black people. We who are just trying to grow up, we who will never, ever get the right type of throne, they who ask wildflowers not to grow places in Black like us.
Let's give it up for that poet one more time. For that last poet we had a 26.8 for that last 10. Let's give it up for them. And our judges are ready for our scores for stay tuned, undone, stay tuned. And our scores are as follows. Okay. Lower high, we got an 8.8, 8.9, 8.9, 9.3, and a 9.6. Let's give it up for that point one more time. Let's give it up for that point one more time. And as we keep the ball rolling, we're going to go to Black Lineal. Let's give it up for them as they come to the stage. Let's clap it up for them. Let's clap it up. Let's give it some noise all the way to the stage.
I tried to kill you. Shoved liquor down your throat, drugs into your system, and heartbreak shaped like boys into your mind. Let them corrupt it, corrupt you. Let them mow down everything you thought you were until you were nothing. I let men do atrocious things to you, to me. It's a miracle there's any of me left to auction off. Going, gone, to the first bidder willing to code abuse and love. Presented in a box like chocolate-covered obscenities. Gift wrapped in pain and deliver it to me on the holiest day, the soberest day. So every drop of liquor that drips down my throat feels like the love it should have washed away. Every shot feels like an embrace you weren't man enough to give me. Every chaser a reality check. Every bottle touch to lips a pang of guilt you should have felt. Every drunken tear an ocean of regret. If I get drunk enough, can I forget you? Let this Malibu rumble up some semblance of hope. If I get drunk enough, can I forgive you? Let this Smirnoff ice out my broken feelings, chill over my overexerted heart. Let this Jose Cuervo turn my blood into a cocktail, a hot mess margarita with a 12% trauma content. If I get drunk enough, can I forbid you from hurting me again, from using me again, from fucking me again? If I fuck you again, will it knock the hangover away? Will it impregnate me with the pieces of me you helped drift away, that I helped gift away? If I get drunk enough, will my liver disintegrate like I did into you? Is that irreversible? Are we irreversible? Physical death is a lot less scary than the death of your spirit. Maybe that's why the alcohol and drugs seem a lot more appealing than you these days.
That's my fucking liquor. Okay. I got the Hennessy. All right, you guys, let's give it up for that poem one more time. That was beautiful. And our last score for our last poet was a 26.9. Let's give it up for that poet. And now our scores for Black Lineal are as follows. From low to high, we have a 9, a 9.6, a 9.9, a 10, and a 10. Let's give it up for that poet one more time. One more time, let's give it up for that poet. And as we end or come to a close for our second round, we're going to go out with the unruly. Keep clapping. Thank you for listening.
All right. This poem is entitled Fork. Hold me as gently as your tongue holds whispers, and use me as delicately as you speak them. Use me. I will give you whatever nourishment you need. I only ask you, feed me your attention. You hold me with a firm grip. We're not spooning here. Use my curves to your advantage, like your palms were designed with me in mind. And when I give you what you need, as our lips part, I swear I'll put a smile on my face to continue with the one I leave on yours. But to be honest, I feel empty inside. You just use me up and then toss me aside, drown in the bubbles and water, in the sink surrounded by the forgotten bodies of your past love affairs. The stink of used pots and pans in the air every time we kiss, I feel like I leave something behind. All I do is give, no matter what, and I don't get so much as a thank you in reply, but I know I'm the only one that gets the job done, and I was made for this purpose. But I'll give you something to eat, something worth tasting. See, those other tools you had were unpolished and filthy from head to toe. I'm clean, but I have no problem getting dirty for you. I'm coming up, tell everyone that I said it, tell the spoons, tell the knives, how you make me feel inside. Hell, open the window and shout it outside. Tell them whenever we touch, you've never felt so alive. And I am the gateway to gluttony and happiness, the bearer of itis and sloth. I envy how your hands linger on food when I'm of no use, and I pray for your touch. And there's pride in that, pride in us. So hold me, as if I have all the answers, and be patient with me, as if you're always waiting for them. I try to convince myself you can't stand to be away, so please, don't prove me wrong.
Alright, I don't like that. Alright, I don't like that. All right, let's give it up for that poem one more time. For our last goal, we had a 29.5. 29.5, let's give it up for that poem. Everybody unruly. Our scores from low to high are as follows. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A 9. A 9.4, a 9.7, a 9.8, and a 9.8. Let's give it up for that one more time. And we're getting ready to take a brief intermission, but our last score for that last poet was 28.9. Let's give it up for all our poets. You guys are doing amazing. I'm gonna let y'all relax for a second. Y'all can warm up, get you some more food, get you another drink if you need to. And we'll be back in like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Hey, thank y'all for watching at home.
That you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta be active. I've seen some things that you would find hard to believe. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta keep active. I've seen some things, I've seen some things that cannot be erased. Confront my demons face to face, I'm in the space of elevation. The elevator cannot take me down, won't take me out of pace in my own race. I might just well go crazy. See, it's been raining in the purple hue when kingdoms fall, this prince will do. My print is new, the ink is fresh and dripping through the pages. Burn sensation, grip these raging views of distant nations. Why be patient? But you could just mold a new civilization. I'm alive, nations wanna stop a fella, but I've been rocking hella stages. Slaying them per usual. Just use the tools of ancient movements, move the fools that are just way too complacent. And screws adjacent, never parallel. I pair with hells and heavenly bodies. My reverence is godly, but I'm no patron saint. These patrons can't even afford these pieces. Peace I cannot paint with all this hate around me. Surrounding with sounds and stereo. Oh, there you go. Speaking that new and mono, but you too, like Bono, can shred the hate if you were more aware of the shit that scares you. Stare it in the eye and tell it, yo, I dare you to climb the stairs to a higher place. Not like heaven, I preach to reverence in the pastor. If your pasture is not green, my fertilizer will get you there so much faster.
Relax, relax, Lord, please take your time. Relax, relax, please take your time. Relax, relax, Lord, please take your time. Relax, relax, breathe and rewind. Relax, relax, please take your time. Relax, relax, please take your time. Relax, relax, please take your time. When love fading and breathe and rewind. I've seen some things that you could find hard to believe. Yeah. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta be active. I've seen some things that you would find hard to believe. Yeah. These ain't nightmares, these ain't dreams. This is happening, it's happening. In this life you can't be passive, gotta keep active. It's happening. When all the smoke.
Feel completely with me. Like, no reason to sugarcoat it. Oh, yeah. Don't let me be the reason you leave him. Nah. I know you miss these beautiful evenings. When pull-ups turn into weekends. Oh, yeah. And now it's your favorite weakness. Now tell me what it was, what it is, and what it can be. Don't sugarcoat, keep it dirty and let me hands free. I do the most, but my loyalty's understanding. Now you divulge all the feelings that's apprehended. All for you to see who the one. When you falling for the feelings of a seasonal love, still get caught up from the ringing of a singular call. Got you questioning yourself like is you single it out, dawg. Baby girl who really involved, dawg. I just know your feelings involved, now. Keep them at a minimum now, oh. Please. Now tell me what it was, what it is, and what it can be. Don't sugarcoat, keep it dirty and let me hands free. I do the most, but my loyalty's understanding. Now you divulge all the feelings that's apprehending. It's hard to trust, I get it, I know that. Enjoy the rush, the feeling is feeling like throwbacks. You roll the blunt, you peeling and stuff in a whole pack. Inhale, exhale, now fall back, all that. Just so you could get a call back, all bad. Yeah, I feel it, but I'm off that. Unless you don't want me to fall back, then I can find a way for us to cross. Now tell me what it was, what it is, and what it can be. Don't sugarcoat, keep it dirty and let me hands free. I do the most, but my loyalty's understanding. Now you divulge all the feelings that's apprehending. What it was, what it is, and what it can be. Don't sugarcoat, keep it dirty and let me hands free. I do the most, but my loyalty's understanding. Now you divulge all the feelings that's apprehending, girl.
I see you. Trying to snip yourself free from the clash of fabric patterns. Outsize the outline of your fierce and stunning soul. Coast be not ocean. Edge be not your end. I smell the salt water in your conversation. A slow leak of truth from the corners of your grin. I see you. Fumbling to wrap yourself in the wind. But I know a costume when I see one. You carve your journey through fire. Blaze ash compacting in your chest. Footsteps forged into scorched earth like rising breaths of sage. Glancing backwards will always be an inclination. Forward is your instinct. I see you. Hobbling together a truth of your own. Reconsidering the broken pieces. Polishing the gemstones in your scars. You are incomplete, and you are the universe. You are an ever evolution. Ever evolution. You are.
Today I decided to play a joke on my friend. Today I woke up to a never-ending nightmare in history. Who knew ropes were a threat to her survival? You could have at least tried a different joke. Oh, a joke like, why are black people afraid of chainsaws? Because they sound like run nigga, nigga, run nigga, nigga. Well, I get it. Okay, well, how about this? Why don't black people dream anymore? Because the last one who did got shot. Okay, that's enough. Dude, chill. It was just a harmless joke. Well, tell that to all those who lost their lives to a harness and a rope. How was I to know it was still that strong of a symbol? And how could you not? Are we so disconnected from the umbilical cord of slavery and history that I don't know any better? But I wasn't there to see thousands of riding and foul-smelling bodies swing from vine like ropes. I didn't have to see them linger or watch them choke. And neither did I. But I can imagine listening to my great-grandmother tell me stories of how she was forced to stomach the stench of sunburned bodies hanging from trees in 90-degree weather. But it was just a thick cord composed of twisted strands of hemp. Yeah, but that wasn't the only joke going around. You had the audacity to make a hit list of those who were all invited and supposed to laugh at this joke. But I don't see smiles and humor in their eyes. Just never-ending cries. Psychologists for those who need help coping with this death sentence of life. Because it has still completely escaped our lives in all forms. Over 100 years later, and we still see a piece of rope as a threat. So we are not OKKK injected fear into our bloodline. But how dare you say I'm wrong when the only history I have of black people is a song. Dr. Martin Luther King was a preacher, a teacher, a man of God, and he loved both you and me. 28 days of history in school minus the 8 weekend days equals 20 days of school and 1 hour less of those dedicated to people who bared their backs to whips and chains and suffered the heavy-duty grip of a rope around their neck as they choked to their deaths so that we could be ignorant. And they say ignorance is bliss, but this is a disgrace to our race considering all that we've become victims to. Victims who have proven to be oblivious to the hits out on our heads as a single culture. We are vultures against our own race, killing up each other like we're all crazed. But we must all be dazed because we don't seem to be fazed by the harm we are inflicted upon ourselves. This will be hell if our ancestors could see exactly what they put their lives on the line and fought for. It was unthought of that we'd regress after all of the progress we've made. It's time that we invade our lives.
It's time that we invade our lives and it's time that we invade our lives and fertilize our minds with knowledge. Rid ourselves of ignorance and acknowledge that we need to be better.
Because in the words of Nelson Mandela, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond all measure. Thank you.
In the beginning, there was blue and there was red. And in this place, there are no concrete things. There are only the emotions that rule the scene. There are no animals, no human beings, absolutely no tangible things. Now, some might say this place is mystical, spiritual, hypothetical, impossible, philosophical, unreal, ideal, everything but it, everything but life, everything but real. You see, I beg to differ. This place is not just an illusion, but they tell me, girl, don't be confusing life with impossibilities. But life is that and everything more. And in this place, love is at its purest state. And in this space, love dominates with power and emotion so great. Love floats around proton, attaches itself to the motion of anxiety like a neutron. Becoming the nucleus, the combination forms the emotion of fear. Love tries to help cure fear of its unhealthy attributes, but fear only connected to doubt, distress, and nervousness. Love, offended by this unappreciativeness, vowed not to ever love again, but chemical reaction, the emotion of trust came in, giving love a strange vibe, strange feeling, hoping to revive the life of love and resurrect the leader from the dead, spark energy between the two, like a defibrillator. All clear, boom, trust is believing love will come alive. All clear, boom, love is still powerless, no hope of surviving. All clear, boom, trust is beginning to speak with confidence and pride. All clear, boom, love is now alive and is resurrected by trust. Together, love and trust seem like the perfect elements combined. They recreated a reactant, meaning emotion that they did not realize. It was called faith. And in this place, there are no concrete things. There are only emotions that rule the scene. There are no animals, no human beings, absolutely no tangible things. Now, some might call this place mystical, spiritual, hypothetical, indefinite, impossible, philosophical, unreal, ideal, everything but it, everything but you, me, and what we choose to believe is real. Now, which pill will you take? The blue or the red?
This right here is America. A land carefully constructed atop an intricate foundation of lies, with a society who quietly step over the corpses of those who were victims to pardoned crimes because they were already.
My name is Michaela Lacey, and this poem is entitled Black Boy in the Image of Earth. He was born weighing 5.972 sextillion metric tons and 4 ounces. His bronze-colored skin could sink Titanics, throw the galaxy's gravity off balance, and when he died, his casket left dents on the shoulders of every man who carried it. Took 10 landfills to bury him. The Black Boy piece is an ode to all the black men in the earth who feel like they don't belong, who feel like they aren't loved, who feel like they aren't accepted, who aren't understood. He cried his way into this world with a sound that resembled an old church hymn. When I found out that I won, I was just like, wait, for real? Like, I'm like, hold on. Like, honestly, I did not think that I was gonna make it. I'm lucky. I felt very lucky. His life, a song composed with an untuned organ played only at black funerals. He grew to stand behind the lines of his ancestors, went from crawling to marching, entered tradition, fit right into funeral procession placement, knowing that he would soon trade places with his cousins, uncles, brothers, friends. Tell me, what weighs heavier than a black man's casket? 5 women, powerful, beautiful, beautiful women. We are also mixed. Our perspective of oppression and where it stands has different, our different views based on where we come from.
When someone's like, dear white people, and then they go on and on and on, and it's just like,
I feel like it's like, tell me something I haven't heard before.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I have an idea.
So let's just go through our own personal lives in the last 48 hours.
You know what?
Talk about when you cry, but
Working at McDonald's. I think that that's just like she more than a mom. Having her as a poetry coach has also been having her as a life coach. I often compare her to Alice from Alice in Wonderland. This world that she has created that makes 100% sense to her. That's what she teaches us as her students to do, is to not follow what she has created, but create our own worlds and create our own rabbit holes to go down. Other than his mother's heart, as she watched the world she birthed be lowered back into the ground, aside from his father's head that hangs lower than branches from charred poplar trees, aside from his grandmother's croon, her vocals lower than 6 feet beneath the hole her womb dug for an offspring, and you deny her creation. You call him thug, you call him nigger, you don't call him planet, you don't look up when you speak to him. Tell me a black boy ain't earth when he can make everything around him grow. What I write doesn't just heal me. Though it heals me, it does. It heals me in very important ways, but it can also be that step forward for someone else when they don't know what to do, when they don't know how to feel. There's this poem. Tell me if a black boy ain't earth, why people see green when they stare at him. Tell me if a black boy ain't earth, why people keep taking from him when his hatred sink deeper than the roots on his birth certificate. Tell me a black boy ain't profit for globalization. Tell me one blow to a black boy's chest won't start a forest fire. Tell me with a straight face that a black man's blood don't darken and be the dirt that holds the seeds on this here ground. Like you can't find all 7 continents laying in between his 7 cornrows, as if the tectonic plates ain't plated in his scalp, as if the Atlantic Ocean don't turn into hurricanes when he apply his wave grease. Tell me a black boy ain't earth. And I'll ask you, have you ever read between the lines of the National Geographic? Do you know what earthquakes really look like? Do you know the tornadoes have their father's hair and share their uncle's eulogy? Tell me a black boy ain't earth. And I'll hand you a map and call it his obituary.
We humbly accepted Best Achievement Award. So it's such an honor to be honored among the icons that paved our way. Such a long history of germs and mutations. So many great examples for how to protect and embed our gestation.
Who would have thought a little STD like me would grow up to become such an epidemic?
I've always dreamt of growing up and giving back to my hood. Black Frank, thank you. Hit the meek and lowly. And if chicken box hadn't hit the scene, young artists such as we wouldn't be able to do what we excel at today. Of course. What would any of us in the audience be tonight if it weren't for those trailblazers? Polio and smallpox.
We took it back into a whole nother level.
Elevated our potential as contagious. We went from shutting down one household to handicapping a whole nation.
And shout out to the other nominees: SARS, swine flu, and oh yeah, the common cold. Again.
Unfortunately, because of vaccines, many of these disease leaders fell from the mountaintop. We will never show up. We could adapt to it and go long enough to get amongst our viral heroes. But we did. We're here. STDs being recognized for their machine.
And like OMG.
To ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. To lentils to the fire. When I'm up in smoke, got me on the ropes. High energy style. Side effects of hope got me bound. Seconds of devotion, shackled to your touch. Handful of my soul, I don't know. Love is this controlling, something I can trust. I can give it all to you. Know just what you're doing. If you can, just let me know. But if you're ready to feel, I'll show you something real. And nothing wasted. Tell me why I'm always spent. Wondering if we're
Meant for something, not for nothing, destined to be or be undone. Yeah, if it's nothing wasted. Tell me why I'm always spent, wondering if it meant for something, or for nothing, destined to be or be undone. Yeah, wow. This relationship is our own, a vacation promise of powder keg, and I am a matchstick on the edge of your gasoline. Destruction is all we see when we click. But baby, the fire we make, we are arsonists of lovemaking, fucking like skirt policy, a pendulum of toxicity and rebirth. When we argue, we are gods of destruction. We spit hot fire, venom be made for casualties. We ritual talk our shit like Dungeons and Dragons, or Black Widows in a mating ritual for a battle cry for space or territory. We say shit we regret all the time, as if each time we forget our hearts are capable of this, as if the hourglass fastens its waist for our metaphor on our gift of time, and I be sitting of time auctioning off our precious thoughts to the loss prevention team of Cupid, because shit seems to happen on its own algorithm, and all we are here again, being extra loud, all lips and larynx and love of mixed communication, 2 tones higher than reason sometimes. Our pens, our thick ears, our hoop on to the movie dick in the room. Watching it walk a minefield of eggshells, got anxiety welling in my throat like a Roman candle waiting to bust. There are elephants tattooed in the corner of your throat. We shout out words like parting gifts, strip them of meaning, of sympathy. They enter the world hard and free like bullets. We make talking dirty sound oxymoronic. Make talking shit sound deadly, heavy. Baby, the fire we make, sometimes it burns like love, hollows out our gums. We can't paint our smiles, our teeth be smoke in mirrors. So when the fire escapes, we are attacked as firewood. Like we are here again, like it was yesterday. And yesterday, trying to burn down the mortar of who we were in another fight.
Not this the song. That's all I recorded. Hey, that body that just stayed. You hear me? All right, so we're going to go to our judges. Right now, let's go for that poem one more time. As our scores, as our judges smoke up the room just a little bit more, we had a 9, a 9.8, a 9.9, a 10 and a 10. One more time. Coming to the stage right now, we got Black Lineal.
It's election night on CBS. Prediction, suspicion, candidate and competition, Republican or Democrat? Where do you stand? Confused, lost, go vote, the ballot will explain it all. See, you're not told the small print. Focus on the puppet, I mean president. Don't read the fine print like Congress and side print like local shit. Instead, Obama or Mitt. Black or white, Hillary or Trump, liar or rapist. 50 states, why do we need one person to run a whole population of cultures, identities of human beings? Some stuck on existing while others are stuck on living. Whatever happened to gain a connection? Like to gain an understanding. See, everyone has a story. That's how you inherit wisdom. Listen to who they are. See who they will be. It's called building. Everyone is flawed. It's what I have, you lack thereof, and vice versa. So as a community, we're supposed to come together to improve. Let's explore.
build, link, let's catch up, learn more, have a conversation, learn different points of views, knowledge, perspective, perception, see. Everyone can see your potential, your glow. You can't see your full self see. Self meets them before self meets self end. People only know what they've experienced. Awaken what they've witnessed, stuck in their habits, so imagine. When you're not taught planning and structured schedule, you lack the knowledge of ignorant. Despised by vision of hope or pressure seems to keep that eye closed. Blinded by distractions, Android or iPhone. Mass incarceration of the population put power to rest because like the living life in fear every day. Fear of darkness, fear of blackness, fear of power. They spoke this madness into our existence. We are the true rulers of this land. Minorities stripped from their culture identity because they don't understand what they've never experienced. See, so many people are so stuck in their life that they don't realize when they've been given a foundation. There's levels to this, and you don't have to be spoiled rotten. Thank you.
I don't know if y'all know sign language or saw the black lady that was doing sign language. She was like, that means murder, but that's not murder. This is murder. She was lying the whole time. It means murder. Serious, simple. All right, so for our last poet, we got another 29.7. Let's give it up for that poet. And that's waiting on our last score. Our judges got their scores up, and we got 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 5. All right, get that from low to high. We got a 9.8. Don't let me. Don't let me. Don't let me. A 10. Okay, y'all warming up now. Y'all warming up. Y'all done scared the judges. Y'all good at this point. It's a free sale at this point. They're like, shit, 10. I ain't even jumped after you. But we're going to keep the ball rolling. We're going to go all the way to... We just some regular niggas. We just some regular niggas. Don't be nice, cuz.
This is titled Wardrobe Malfunction. The first time someone called me a dyke, I was 13. We are leaving the cafeteria. 20-something of us middle schoolers laughing about YouTube and anime, inching up the winding steps. The mean girl says it. Somewhere between the second and the third floor took loud enough for me to hear. First, a glance in my direction. Second, a hyena snicker, a laugh I had become familiar with the moment I shed my desire for long hair and short skirts. And finally, she says dyke, and I think to myself, no, that word doesn't quite fit. This was the year my mother bought me button-ups and neckties, when she scavenged Goodwill aisles and clearance halls to make her child happy, even if she too had questions and secretly asked God for me to want to keep my straight and my girlhood. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't think anything was, but I wanted to know why the word hurt so bad. The first time I'm called a faggot was the day after the duo of girls label me a dyke. They call me confused. Whisper something about this body and who it could possibly want to share with. This was the same year my best friend confesses she is in love with a girl. I'm one of the first she tells, and I'm so happy because at least she knew. At least she could say it and be sure. At least her heartbeat ran in one steady direction, and I envied the certainty. Because this was the same year I started losing to everyone and everything I was once sure of. The year my heart sat in a desk chair, spun itself, and with a dizzy finger, confessed in the chapel I call a chest. Yes, Father, it's true. I fell for him and her and them, asked, can we still get to heaven this way? Will I need to wear a dress to get there? Can I love God and also love all her people too? I speak the name now. Even if the world will try to evict it from my bones, I speak the name now, so other Black girls with dizzy heartbeats can stop punishing themselves for turning, for spinning, for trying on all the names like button-ups and stockings and skirts. I speak the name now. Call it what it is.
Say bi, say queer. I do this. Say it. Announce it so that we can keep wearing the clothes that fit instead of the ones that don't. Let's give it up for that poet one more time. I know the words. Giants. For that last poem, they got a 30. Let's give it up for the first 30 of the night. And for this poet that just went our scores from low to high are. All right. A 9.9, a 10. Y'all throwing out 30s like it's stimulus checks. You get a stimulus, you get a stimulus, you get a stimulus. You here now. You here now, shit. Oh, moving right along as we end this third round. I do want to apologize because I get really excited up here. I love being on stage and talking to y'all because I like talking a lot. But I've been talking so fast and reading so fast, I kind of fucked up y'all order. But hey, I did. You gotta me. Okay, I'm with you. I love you, cuz. I quit. No, I'll buy you a new marker. I'll buy you a new marker. You can't break consensus in a group of writers. They get pissed. All right, so we're going to end this last round with the unruly. Let's clap it up for them as you get to the stage. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
New shit.
I'm just on myself.
It's the story of the Beach Boys trilogy in 4 parts. It always ends in thunder, with the surprise, the boo before the ghost, the sound before the light, a stream of fire that's fallen for gravity that cries the whole way down. There's nothing sadder than the rain, but nothing happier than the life that follows. Somehow, we always find peace in the middle, a moment to pick up the pieces, to pull ourselves from the reflection in the water, to search for more than flaws. But we all get caught up in the moment, in the flash, trying to catch the horizon silhouette in a Kodak moment instead of looking where we're going, diverting your eyes to get ahead of the surprise. You hope to get a sign, the boo before the ghost, the sound before the light, but the surprise, it always ends in thunder. I used to be made of sand when I had all the time and I would sprinkle it into the waiting palms of the needing. I'd slip through people's hands and they thank me for giving them a taste of the sun, a taste of warmth. They'll take me with them through their life in shoes and socks between their toes. Sometimes they leave footprints behind, so even if they forget where they've been, I know. But that was before a solar flare lightly stepped onto the beach as if off a flight. Now they flinch from my touch and shun me. The further you are, the colder I am. Now each step I take shatters every part of me. But there's a path of my brokenness leading to you. There was once a boy who sat by the sea and swore that it loved him the way it kissed his feet. But the boy always got sad when it would go away. He asked, why do you leave? You know you can stay. But there's never a reply, just a wave, and it leaves, always slipping through his hands just to crawl back to his feet. But one day, the boy said no more, brought a shovel to the shore and dug a pit in the beach like an open wound. He dragged his bucket and filled the scar with the sea. He took parts of his lover, piece by piece, in hopes of having a bit that would never leave. But everyone knows all wounds heal. Water evaporates in heat, and there is nothing hotter than love. It always ends in thunder, with the surprise, the sound before the light, the woo before the ghost, the hope to get a sign. Diverting your eyes to get ahead of the surprise instead of looking where you're going, trying to catch the horizon silhouette in the Kodak moment in the flash, but we all get caught up in the moment to search for more flaws, to pull ourselves from the reflection in the water, a moment to pick up the pieces. Somehow we always find peace in the middle, but nothing happier than the life that follows. There's nothing sadder than rain that cries the whole way down, a stream of fire that's falling for gravity, the sound before the light, the boo before the ghost. With the surprise, it always ends in thunder. Damn.
Boom! Okay, you called me thunder. Thunder. For our last poll, we like to score of 30. Let's give it up for that poll. And as we move on the scores for this poll are as follows from low to high. We got an 8.9, right? An 8.9, a 9.0, a 9.0. And a 9.3, but let's give it up for that point on for a time. Okay, thought of judges in the trash at this point. We just gonna get a whole new set. Fuck it, I'm judging. Y'all can go home. Thank you. How y'all feeling? Y'all good? We going into that last round. Let me get some energy. Let me get some energy at home. Throw some hearts, some thumbs up or something. All right, so as we go into the last round, because I kind of misconstrued the order, I'm going to correct it this time. Is that fine? Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all just hear poetry. I hear you. All right, so our order is going to go as follows. First, we'll have Black Lineal, followed by Unruly, followed by Undone Stay Tuned, followed by We Just Some Regular Niggas. That makes sense? Yes. Okay, if you rock with me, say I'm rocking. I love that. So we're going to go into this last round starting strong. Let's make some noise for Black Lineal!
I am just now starting to feel the wine. Got it. Right. Okay. Yes. All right. For the children in the room, excuse me. To the white woman who wants to fuck me, but doesn't like my Black Lives Matter poems. Stop. My poems are not made for your inconsistent revolution or your basic ass fetishy fantasies. My melanin has no expiration date nor a sign to worship on white people's time. My titties are not a sculpted genius for your PBS showcase or your All Lives Matter protest. To the white woman who wants to fuck me but doesn't like my Black Lives Matter poems, this be a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year hustle, and be damned if I don't act a fool on the 66th day when you leak your goofy ass into my DMs. I am not a mean button or a dignified jungle fever. I do not bend at the hands of pale flesh and blonde or brunette extensions, nor do I have an urge to feel an oppressor on a closer level. To the white woman who wants to fuck me but doesn't like my Black Lives Matter poems, remember that your happy-go-lucky ass is not my type for poetic justice, or that my thick ass needs saving. I am a Black girl with radical ambitions, never letting my crown cease to be invisible. My pussy is not a merry-go-round for fuck girls and experimental curiosities, because that shit causes bitches to mistake me for God, and I ain't got time for that. To a white woman who wants to fuck me but doesn't like my Black Lives Matter poems, my poetry is a state of mind, and that shit is mine. So understand that this full package be a replica of history in its prime. Black girl and a line. My words be a massacre and an investment with time, not a baseline, not a welfare, not a nice ride. To the white woman who wants to fuck me but doesn't like my Black Lives Matter poems, remember that your privilege don't work these ways, baby. Thank me for the TED Talk. And signed always, a Black girl who loves Black.
form. I need that in text message form. Let's give it up for that poem one more time. Our score for that last poem was a 26.9. Let's give it up for that poem one more time. We're moving over to the scores. And this goes out to the white woman that want to fuck everybody in the room. Until. Let's give it up for that poem one more time. Alright, moving on. We're gonna move right along to Unruly. Let's give it up for the
Y'all know I picked the poem when I get here.
I love that.
They want me to write about justice, but she never thought of me. Dear Emmett, they spat on the ground you tilled. Justice would much rather cut off one ear than hear your screams as your blood spilled. They beat you to death like whack-a-mole. Wrapped barbed wire around your throat like a rodeo, took out your eyes and tongue like operation. Then after being acquitted, admitted it to the nation, protected by double jeopardy. It was always a game to them. When justice never participated in, she just sat back and watched like an artist eyeing a masterpiece on its easel. But being an artist, she never wanted to leave the mouths of the people. You see, she cherishes the chant, long live the queen. But you were always royalty, dear Rodney. You were always royalty. I know justice is blind, but it's easy for the people to see. So they took to the streets after seeing you bleed. And when all 4 officers were acquitted initially, I wonder if it felt like water was beneath their feet and Peter was just out of arm's reach. And when they were retried, did they feel that blessing leave? Did you feel the weight of the water in the pool above you? Skip the raft and the flaming arrows. At least you got half the burial of kings. And your queen, she was off somewhere attempting to pair priests and religion, but she is a godless bitch that never comes when she's called, and there's no church in the wild. And Darius, I miss seeing you in church all the time, laughing and smiling as only children can play. Did you feel the weight of their knees on the ground above you as they prayed? Did you hear their screams as they said your name? More people prayed to you than Jesus that day, my God. And don't tell me he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, because time and place never paid for sin. I said time and place never paid for sin, yet this seems to be the period in our life where she's always a part of our life sentences. We were trained to chant this sentence: no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. But it's just me trying to get a piece of peace, and it's justice trying to get a piece of me. Get the fuck out. Not exactly hiding. You know where to find me in justice. I wrote this just for you.
You hear me? Just like that. Let's give it up for that punch one more time. Simply because in that last score for the point before was somewhere on the paper. It was a 30. Y'all know how to do that, right? All right. And we got the scores here for our last poet that just left our stage. And from low to high. Okay, yeah. A 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10. Okay, let's go that way. Low to high. That was low to high. 10, and then the 10. But let's give it up for that point one more time. Oh, shit. Yeah, when that fat jiggle is going down. All right, we're moving on to our next point. Let's give it up as they come to the stage. Undone, stay tuned.
Y'all remember that Milwaukee 808?
Hey.
I be on the mic, getting beastie. Drop a few bars on records, island gonna leash me. No, I'm not a rapper, just MC definite. Master creator, this is simply how I say this shit. Mike is the talisman, I'm just Jackie Channing it. Inner city, my check, 1, 2, protege, and poetry to this. In the ism, my sidekick. Verbally imbalanced, insanity the pharmacist. If you consider yourself a nigga, this is to the king in you. I'ma be a stethoscope doctor. Heard you ain't know me well, so anime a death note. I represent the Babylon and your hood credentials. Don't forget your work, nigga. Cause you are a king now. Don't forget your timeless, your work is in the ring now. Unprocessed, your mind, your rhyme scheme is violent. Unprocessed, your mind, your royalty, not rebound. Hold the words, your majesty. Kodak, your team now. Just through the swag is systematically increasing. And just through the swag is systematically reversing. Don't do that because I told you so, because you're worth this. The antecedent is president because you're so not worthless. You're just worth this, my nigga. Thank you.
That's for the motherfucking culture right there. Let's give it up for that one more time. And our scores right now, from low to high, we have a 9.2, a 9.7, a 9.8, a 9.9, and a 10. Let's give them that point one more time. All right, as this last round comes to a close, y'all felt that? Y'all ain't feel that. Y'all don't feel that. Y'all don't feel that. We about to end this round strong, just like we started. You know what I'm saying? So coming to the stage right now to end out our slam, we just some regular niggas.
Question. I hear black boys are so cool that they don't feel pain. Is it true? Answer. I wish someone asked Courtney Jamal Dewar, better known as Capital C's, this question, because maybe then he laughed so hard that when he jumped, his laughs would manifest in the shape of wings. Then maybe he would fly away from his pain just to suffer another day. Question. Can black boys fly? Answer. The first time that my brother tried to commit suicide, or at least the first time I know of, I drove him to the hospital. Can you imagine the discussion on the way? Can you imagine how the sleeping pills felt? Is that not a hard pill to swallow? My brother was brave enough to try. This is an ode to black boys who want to leave too soon. For black boys who consider crawling in caskets after a long day of living and are finally ready to rest. For black boys who want to be black boy fly cash and their crowns for rings. And I don't believe in angels, but what else can I view black boys as but magical? For many black boys, walking too close to the curb feels too much like standing at the edge of the bridge. Sounds like the wind whispering in their ears telling them to jump, telling them it will all be okay. Feels like maybe I won't make it home. Feels like maybe I've made it home. Black boys' bodies are embalmed far before they die. There's no point. We might as well save time. Let the streets do the dirty work and let them do it themselves. Question. If a black boy commits suicide, can you hear him? Answer. The question is rhetorical. Black boy depression is never a discussion because black boys are only ever a period in a run-on sentence, can only ever be the end, a punchline to a joke we've heard too many times, and yet we still laugh. It never becomes old. We never become sick of it. Black boys make amazing centerpieces in disgusting conversations. Great dress-up dolls for funeral directors. Isaiah Rashad once said, hanging from the playground wasn't wrong until you got a rope in your neck. Black boys are made to be men too early, are taught to turn playgrounds into mausoleums or taught to turn playgrounds into coliseums and mausoleums. We're taught to hang from swing sets and basketball courts. Life was never a game for black boy. Death was never a fable for black boys. My fear is a black boy so willing to shoot his shot. Another question. If a black boy cries in the middle of the night, is he still a man? Answer. Hurry up, answer. His death depends on it. I can't find an answer to these questions. Looking at my hands, they're bruised from trying to stitch up so many black boys, and I am still falling apart at the seams. I am no hero. I fear I can't hear my brother. I fear I can only hear myself. Hurry, answer. I don't want my brother. I don't want to lose my brother too soon. I know the curb is his corner. I know he's jumped before. I know he's jumped before. I don't know if he can make it. Again, I don't know if I can take it. Again, question. If a black boy commits suicide, is it because he hates the world? Or is it because the world hates him?
Let's give it up for that poet one more time. Let's give it up for that poet one more time. Our score for that last poet was 29.4. Let's give it up for him. As we get ready to wrap up these scores for our judges for our last poet, we got all scores in, and they are as follows from low to high. We got a 9.3, a 9.5, a 9.8, a 9.9, and a 10. So let's give it up for that poet one more time, man. So we got a 29.2 for that last poem. Let's give it up for that. Now, okay, as we get ready to have our people over here do what they do best, they mathematicians, right? We're gonna have one of my, listen, too many of y'all to be my favorite, right? So I ain't gonna say shit like that. Because y'all will beat my ass, but I ain't scared to call you. All right, so, we're gonna have Mr. Mario come up as soon as he get back. Y'all geek, y'all turn around, he's not even y'all here. But until then, we got Miss Kendra.
If I call it, nigga, I load it, nigga. 6 headshots, Ollie rolling, nigga. Pop another clip and I'm reloaded, nigga. Ain't no way around it, I'm the coolest, nigga. Do my nigga dirty like you do.
Let's give it up for Kendra one more time. That was tall, thank you, thank you. But let's give it up for Mario. Come to bless our ears, man. This is a man who needs no introduction.
There is only so much time left. And got these mortals believing they'll live forever if they can just hide long enough from death. God's been coming. Try and expose the light and the difference between being in the kingdom of heaven and just being an Israelite. Might think the sending cures and checks are the exact same thing, but there's a difference between a wedding band and a toilet bowl ring. There is no help coming. We knew how this would end, just never win, just never wear. The infection rates and body counts on Chirons now. Everybody cares, wanna steal your breath. But so will police, promiscuity, and addiction, not to mention all them goddamn hot ones. Truth is, we are helplessly floating out in space, trying to figure out the moon and stars, figure out how it feels to be in God's place, can't smell or taste nor outrun fate. When your number's up, your date's your date. Just truth and lies. If he dies, he dies. Bassinets to caskets, it was no surprise. It was always going to end this way. Life has a debt to pay. Prepare yourself come Judgment Day. You understand the truth and what we say. Okay, I need everyone within the sound of my voice to run their fingers through this smoke. Scratch the surface of faith. Crinkle every line in this space into a ball and throw it out. I need us all to be born again. Every soul, each wish, every whisper to stand in the chord. See, faith, it comes by hearing. So I need everyone to hear this. You are all gods. Power is as infinite as you dream if you choose to believe in it. The miraculous is achievable by the sum total of our power to believe it. I am so sure of this. So sure, in fact, I will repeat it. You are all gods, but with great power comes great responsibility. Your words, capture them now before you lose them. Hold the oxygen that contains your spirits in your bones and ration out your syllables like fine cuisine. Because it can be a most delicious dish, but it can be poison. Your words, his words, her words, a treasure. With careful consideration, the castle stand tall over a kingdom, misdirected a wrecking ball of nuclear proportions. Conjure spirits with your words. Set ships to sail, command the stars to shine, exalt the sun's rays to bend corners, pronounce things that aren't as though they were, and watch them occur. There has been a disconnect between us and our divinity. I hope to correct this right now. So I need everyone within the sound of my voice to pay close attention. You are more than flesh and bones. More than your mother's child, 1,000 times bigger than your body. You have been impregnated with a seed, a mission, a purpose. This thing grows inside of you larger and larger, so the skin of your thin heart is able to contain it, and you explode. I'm so sure of this. So sure, in fact, I will repeat it. You are purposed. Take care of your purpose. Some come to define it. I'm not different in religion. That's a choice. This thing I speak of, a force, a power inside of you, like stars in the cosmos, constellations of matter within your chest, oh, galaxies in your heart, running rivers of star systems, lakes of fire, oceans of sunshine, continents of consciousness, as rays explosions in your head. Perfect fire restlessness. Towers as high as the sky, but in the span of your third eye, I speak to you today. Of endearing encouragement. Come to loose the bonds and tie your hands to the temporal, unshackle the potential. Give you what's already yours to begin with. You can build those things. Make these things happen, for there are possibilities disguised as dreams. And you alone can give those shadows form. Just believe in yourself. And know that you are all gods.
Too much to write on the paper, so you can do it. So there it is. Remember that quote for a time. Hey, so as we're ready to wrap this event up, I do want to say thank you to everybody that came out to make this vision a thing. So give yourself a hand. I just want to reiterate, I want to thank HK Entrees for catering. She has some food left and not a lot of stuff, but get what you can while you can. Thank you to Miss Nikki for letting us use this space. I want to give a special shout out to all of our teams. Undone, Stay Tuned, thank you to Unruly, Black Videos, and we just a regular nigga. Let's give it up to them. I don't know these made up names. I know y'all real names. Shit, fuck that. Shout out to our judges. Let's give it up to them. Shout out to my little side table here because they've been doing their thing. I want to give a special shout out to DJ Ryan in the background. Keep it going. Me. I'm gonna hold y'all and say all my announcements. I know y'all want to hear who won. So fuck that. Before y'all leave, make sure y'all sign this. It say your name, your number, and what you do. What do you do? Put this here. So we can continue to do shit like this with different people, with the same people, reaching other people who know us. That's a circle. That's a circle. It's a circle. All right. Y'all want to know who won? Hey, after this is an after party at my crib. If y'all want to come, it's more than welcome to come. We about to party all night like in 1997. Y'all know that's a good year. It was. 97, it was cracking. Simple. Listen, shout out to Dr. Kelly. Shout out to the Poet Laureate, whole organization, all of them everywhere. Shout out to Reed. Okay. In this order. Shout out to the people at home. Thank y'all for tuning in and keeping up with all these people. Make sure y'all like their stuff, follow them wherever they at, SoundCloud, buy their books, buy all their shit, because I said so. Shout out to Weed. Hey. You know, you have to put it there. Also, I'm about to do a shameless plug. If y'all not doing nothing with y'all life for real, even if you are, take a listen to my podcast, the Bishop Podcast. I'm on YouTube. You can get it on Actually, please, I need to interview all y'all. What you talking about? We're gonna have a great time. We got this dude until 9. I'm starving. Let's get it. All right. In no particular order, looking at it. In no particular order. Hey, we all know who won. Don't come running up here and like, hey, send me the money on the cash app. I'll contact you and we'll get y'all shit situated. I do got the money. I ain't no shit. I ain't no broke ass nigga. Y'all see the money? I wanted on purpose, stuff. I got bread. Looking ass. I want to go home. I'm having a good time with y'all. No, we having a good time. All right, but listen, we're going to go to the scores, right? Did I say everything? Okay. Got you ready to go. All right, so for third place, we got a tie with a score of 112.3. That's what I said, 112.3. We just some regular niggas and undone. Stay tuned and give it up for them. Thank y'all for participating. I really do appreciate it. Second place. Do y'all watch The Circle? Yeah. That's not gonna be cracking or what? So we can do some ratings and shit. We can watch The Circle after this at my house. Oh yeah. No, the new episode just came out yesterday. Thank you for the jerk out. In second place, with a score of 113.6, Leon Rulli. Shout out to that team. We really appreciate you for participating and giving us your heart on the stage, boys. It was amazing. And, right. No, simple. That part. I'll buy you a bottle of water. Okay. And so that means in first place with a score of 118.6, we got Black Livio. Hey, one more time, I want to thank y'all for coming out. This is a great time. I had a great time with all y'all. We're going to do some shit like this again real soon. It definitely said first annual, so that means the second annual was next year. If y'all don't know time and shit. Other than that, man, clean up y'all shit because y'all grown. Thank y'all for coming out. I love y'all.